Are you producing, publishing, or promoting content in your market? Value not articulated is value not appreciated. Quit trying to make a sale and start trying to make a difference. If you want to grow your business, start creating more value. Start making more deposits. Start laying golden bricks and start leveraging the internet. You need to start publishing content or perish. And that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Let's get started. Welcome to the Rainmaker Podcast, where we help business-minded real estate agents stop chasing leads and help them start attracting business. We don't claim to make winners here. We do claim that we help winners win bigger and faster. Building your business is building your database, one that works harder for you than you do for it. So if you want to get off the transaction treadmill, keep on listening. If you want the shortcut to dominating your market, then go to www.marketmakersystems.com/demo. Mr. Otto and Jake. How are y'all doing, fellas?
It's Odo. I feel like Neo on the Matrix, you know? My name is Odo.
That's awesome. So I had somebody that I talked to last week that has been listening to the podcast, and we were talking about you, Mr. Odo, and he called you Otto, and I said, "Oh no, it's actually Odo," and he was like, "No, I know. I listen to the podcast, so I know you guys give him a hard time all the time about his last name."
That's funny. That's how I know if people know me, you know? Telemarketers call. Can I please speak with Mr. Otto? Who's calling? I had that long time ago in my childhood delinquency. I had a court case where I couldn't afford the attorney. I had to represent myself, and I won. And the whole time, the prosecuting attorney kept calling me Otto. And my only regret, is that I didn't say that at the end. My name is Odo. I wish I would have, you know. But I couldn't bring myself to do it. I was just so shocked.
Here's the bad part. The more you talk about it, the more you're adopting the alternative as like a joke forever. I was listening to this book called The Three Kings. It's about Dr. Dre, Jay-Z, and Puff Daddy, and they literally told how Puff Daddy got his name Puff because in high school people said he walked around with his chest puffed out, and then Jay-Z. They went through how he got his name, which was interesting as well. It had to do with an intersection that's close to where they live. So now they're going to ask you, Michael Odo, why does everyone I hear call you Otto?
All right, I'm throwing it back at you. So for the record,
I already have my nickname, so it won't take.
Your desired nickname is, but I want you to know my wife calls you.
I know, but no one knows her. But all my friends know me.
They're about to hear. She calls them
here's
Reese's
the thing.
Pieces. Reese's Pieces.
Hey, we melt in your mouth.
We're happy to edit that.
Yeah. No, why? There's nothing wrong with that.
It's a joke, man. I'm joking.
Okay. So let's get talking, man. Publish or perish. It's a great topic. It's funny because I think what most people do inherently whenever they're doing anything in their business is they fundamentally, I don't know how people make decisions in their business. I was on the road last week with Hall of Fame running back. Well, it was this week, Monday. I was on with Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis, and I was doing a training at Mile High Stadium. And I met a lot of great agents while I was there. And one of the things that a guy ran up to me, and he was, he kind of connected with me, and he was kind of telling me a lot of his problems. And so I went to explain to him, the publish or perish model and why that was so important. And, I had talked a little bit about it when I had done my presentation. And it just seems like something that is so obvious for people on all the benefits of publishing content that you actually, you either make it a priority or make it an excuse. And Jake, you told me that, someone was listening to the podcast, which again, this is publishing. I mean, when you have to publish, promote, and produce a podcast. So we are publishing a podcast. And Jake, you were telling me someone you talked to who said, I want to do exactly what y'all were doing but I want to do it for my business, right?
Yes, and Big Rick in California, much love because he's probably going to listen to this. Because one of the episodes he listened to 10 times, and when we talked, he just had a lot of very good feedback. But it's something where he just got it, and he's been in real estate for 15 years. Has 7 kids. Wants to spend more time with his kids rather than chasing people down. And he was like, "Whatever you have done to me, I need to be doing in my market because I'm a fish and I'm swimming towards your boat and jumping in, and I want the same effect to happen in my market with buyers and sellers." So he just got it, and that's it's 2018, and that's what works. If you really want to attract people, you put out good, relevant content. It is an attention game at this point. What people have your attention? What attention are you grabbing, and how are you doing it? If you're just relying on the old ways, you are going the way of perishing, because it's changing fast. And if you spend time all day on your phone, between Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat for some of the younger ones. I still haven't adopted that one yet, but people are spending a ton of time and attention is being had. But are you getting any of it?
Absolutely. I'm always looking at the defensive side of things. And for me, in thinking about this topic, I was thinking about me, at the top of my market, getting exposed to this kind of an idea. And to be honest, I would have just ignored it. I would have just been like, man, that ain't going to work. I'm already doing, I got leads coming in, I got lead gen, and I would have ignored it to my own peril. And I was thinking back on that same topic, when I first got exposed to, the ability to online lead gen, and my desire to be number one in my market. I remember I crossed out the name of the top agent on a printed out list and put my name over it. Right. I was a Jay-Z fan. Put Odo on top, but because I'm a visualization guy. And I couldn't really fathom the number of transactions they were putting up, and I knew that they were ignoring this opportunity of online lead gen, and so I thought that was my key, and it was, and they were ignoring it. And today, most agents aren't ignoring that particular aspect, but they are ignoring this one. And I would have been foolish enough to ignore it at my own peril. I would have been like, you know what, I don't have time, I'm too busy. Nobody's going to watch my videos or read my blogs. And it would have been a huge mistake because it's like one of those little areas that you can literally crowbar in. And on that same, thought, it's an opportunity, but it's definitely going to be a limited time one. I don't know how long. It could be a year, 2 years, 5 years until, the rest of the market catches up and starts publishing good content. But the good news is if you're in front of it, anybody who does it after you is going to be looked at as, somebody who's trying to copy your stuff.
So I think the byproduct of it from an agent's perspective, you when you publish content, you get the opportunity to educate the marketplace, which in turn creates an authority. It puts you in an authority position. I won't get into it. I wish I could. I can't, just because I don't want to confuse people from a branding standpoint. But there are, if I was marketing, online to generate leads, I would be generating leads in a way where I was positioned as an authority. I mean, nobody. I mean, right now when you call your leads, first of all, let me just clear the air real quick. Most people don't have leads. So, we should do a podcast on that. Every time I speak in a room, and it's sad, but most agents fundamentally don't know how to say fundamentally. No, I'm just saying. No, but they don't know how to generate leads. And so, I think it would be really cool to do a series of podcasts where we do maybe 6 to 8 minute episodes and go through the lead generation process and tips of what you have to do in order to work. I saw that done on another podcast with the guy that I follow. I thought it was brilliant, very educational. But at the end of the day, the reason I say that is because after my event and all of the events, when I even went on tour, I used to tell people to raise their hand. And I would say, how many people generate less than 5 brand new leads a week? And it was, I'm not kidding you. It was shocking. And so what I think people need to understand is, we say leads and we mean subscribers. I'm using the language in which, the listener is used to, but generating new people onto a list into a database that you communicate with is the goal. Now, when those people come on, they come on as buyers, they come on as sellers. And so let me give you an example, just high level example, walk through, case study, whatever you want, what I would do, knowing what I know now, if I could go back in time and have the tools that we have today, the year that I did the most closings, we'll just say for the buyer side. Okay. One of the things that you have at and I'm going to tie this to publish or perish, but one of the things that you have is like, for instance, when we set up somebody's campaign, we can everybody that hits that website, we can put into a custom audience. And so a custom audience means they don't have to fill out a form, they don't have to become a lead. Anybody who lands on your website. So a lot of people don't know how many people land on their website every month. If you don't, you should. That should be really easy for you to get. But let's just say it's 500 to be, take a number out of thin air. Those 500 people, they come to your website, they can come from all over the world. They could see it on a billboard, a business card. They could see it on the email signature, a sign, a property brochure. They could see it a number of places. But the point is that when they hit your website, okay, they live in Texas or they don't. They live in Texas or they don't, right? Is that, I mean, if someone hits my site, it's either they can fall into one or two categories. They live in Texas or they don't. I mean, would everyone agree with that?
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
if they don't live in Texas, I could actually say, Facebook, here's all the people that came to my website. I know I embedded a pixel on my website so that you could study all of the visitors or the IP addresses. And would you mind doing me a favor, Mr. Facebook? I want to publish content about why you should move to Frisco. Because I know that if somebody falls into the category of not living in Texas and they're looking at, and they came from an ad about homes or buying a home or 5-bedroom homes or whatever, homes with a pool in Texas, that when they landed on my website, that I could actually, if they get on their computer and they're in Columbus, Ohio, they're in, La Jolla, California, Macomb, Georgia, or, Jacksonville, Florida, doesn't matter, that when they get on their website, on their computer, and they check their Facebook tomorrow morning, and there's an ad that says, there's an ad about buying homes in Frisco or neighborhoods in Frisco or homes with the golf course or, how to negotiate, the things you need to know when moving to Texas, right? Like no state income tax, whatever it is, like the things you need to know when doing a mortgage in Texas, the free money available at the state and city levels in counties in Texas. Like you could be retargeting all of those people and publishing content, and that content could be a 6-minute, audio that is, spoken to from so you go to your lender, for example, say, hey, do you have any special programs for people in Texas? Oh, you do? Great. Okay. Tell me about them. Oh, let me take some notes real quick. Oh, great. I recorded that on my iPhone, transcribed that. I'm going to put that into some bullets. I'm going to say it, and then I'm going to transcribe it, and I'm going to publish it on Facebook, and I'm going to do it to my business page, and I'm going to do a dark post and promote to the custom audience with the headline that I know they're going to resonate with. And to me, that person, now here's where it gets crazy, is when the person clicks on that, and it's what you would consider a blog post. It could be a podcast that's on your blog. It could be a podcast that's on your blog that's also on your YouTube channel. That content is consumed. And the crazy thing is is if you use the right technologies these days, which is what I would tell myself, is we have behavioral dynamic lead scoring. So we can know that if now here's the crazy part. Remember all those people that fell into the other category that lived in Texas, right? But they lived in Texas, but they were looking to buy a home in Texas. Now, said differently, we could say they lived in Frisco, Texas, right? We know that from geo targeting, and we know that they were looking at homes in Frisco, Texas. So what that means is they might have a home to sell. And so again, you can publish information about selling your home and buying another one, trading up, all of that content that you can literally segment your audiences and communicate to them in a way. And you can go national real estate information, you can go statewide, you can go citywide, you can go neighborhood wide. You can get as creative as you like. What you need though is a core process to where every single week, you know, when we do this podcast, we have two choices. We could bet that you're going to open our email, right? And that you're going to read our email and then click on a link and go to our website and read everything on our website all the way to the bottom and understand everything it is that we have to do and how we can help you. That's one thing. And that could happen. I'm sure people do it all the time. But, or we could have, which I do believe is better, is we could have a lot of that same content in the audio format where you can download it to your phone, listen to it while you drive, or read it on your iPhone, maybe while you're waiting on a layover, waiting on a plane, or riding in the passenger seat in your car on the way to 4th of July, wherever it is that you're going. But we know that there's many different ways that you can consume this content. The point is that publish the content around information that educates your market, puts you in an authority position. And if you become the publisher, right? If you don't become the publisher, then what happens is the reason you perish is you don't perish literally, but what happens is you become exhausted because you're only living on the people that are ready to do business today. And that market, that would be like 10 people trying to eat a pizza that has 8 slices. It's a red ocean. Everybody's going to still be hungry. Now you might not die, but you're going to always be starving. But if you could learn that, hey guys, I know that y'all are worried about that, but if y'all wait 20 more minutes, 3 more pizzas are coming, and they don't wait, they eat the couple pieces and then all leave, and then you're sitting there with all the leftovers. And that's what I believe happens when you look at your business as building a business of subscribers, is that all the people that are raising their hand, that are interacting, because the truth is that people like to be informed, and this is what we call the information age. We had the industrial age, we have the information age, and information is at our fingertips. And so we can go YouTube and find out how to how to fix our washer and dryer, anything on YouTube. We can Google and solve almost any problem. And the question is, what are those problems that exist in the marketplace? And who's providing solutions to that marketplace? And are you just are you competing on the pay-per-click? So you're literally competing with just the Googles and for the Google traffic, pay-per-click against the Zillows and the Redfins and us as market makers, because we provide that service to our clients, which is great. But the guy who can afford to spend the most on Google is the guy that generates the lead for somebody who's going to do business in May and can capture that business, because when he generates 67 leads, the 1 or 2 that's ready to possibly do business today and the one that might already have an agent that's a brother, sister, or cousin, but there's 16 other people that either 2 of them don't know they're going to be getting a divorce in the next 18 months. 1 of them doesn't know that they're having a baby in the next 18 months. 4 of them don't know that they're going to get a promotion in the next 12 months or 18 months. Things happen and people decide to move, or they get laid off. And so if you can be the one that's communicating to them and owning that position. I was in my room yesterday, and I told my buddy, I said, hey, I'm going to go get a magic marker. And I walked down out of my office and I turned around and I said, I want to clarify one thing. I'm going to get a marker, but it might not be a magic marker. And the brilliance
what's the
is
difference?
that magic marker is a brand that owns my mind.
Yep.
And that in the future, people are going to say a name into Alexa. They're not going to see what happens right now is I don't remember the agent's name. I can be lazy, and I could say, this is the future of voice. I could say, Alexa, am I going to say, Alexa, what am I going to ask Alexa? Alexa, what are homes selling for? And what are homes selling for in Shattuck Creek? And Alexa's going to say, Shattuck Creek Home Sales podcast produced by Michael Reese Home Selling Team. Updated last Tuesday, market update. Oh, yeah. Play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I own that keyword. Because I'm publishing content. People that pay-per-click space. Think about this. If I would have said, Alexa, please send me a magic marker. Black. Mine just ran out. They're not going to send me a Sharpie, just so you know. That's the important of brand in the future. Is that unlike voice, where you can compete and battle, in the future, if you can own the brand or the keyword or thought string, because see, nobody owns, there isn't a brand that owns the neighborhood. They're going to they're going to say, showing 5 results. Audio market update. They're going to be like, yeah, will you please play that over your speaker, Alexa? Or are they going to say, no, just email it to me so I can read it? What are they going to tell Alexa? If Alexa can play something over audio, do you think they're going to want her to do it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to just take that a step further. A lot of people don't think about Google as a business, but Google is a business, and it's in the business of serving its customers. And so when you get search results, the reason why Google became the dominant search engine is because they do a great job of tying those things that are relevant to the top of the search results. And so what makes those things relevant, right, are a number of different things that you're going down that path of. But you're absolutely right. It's the exact same with voice, but even more important from the perspective that you're giving. The thing about Google when I first learned this was shocking to me. They give more credit to things that they think will be of more value to their end user, the person searching, than they would to somebody who's going to give them more money on a click, for example. So just the little things like even the page load speed, and bringing it back to today's technology, plays a big part in where you're going to rank in Google. And why do you think they do that? Because that's going to give you a perception of a better result, which makes you perceive Google to be a better search engine. And it'll be the exact same with voice. What's going to be the most preferred for the consumer? And let me tell you, they're going to track this. They're going to measure this. They're going to create algorithms around this. And the more people say, yeah, go ahead and play that, the more they're going to push it when people search for that.
Same thing with video for Google. I was just reading about it, and it was like 54% more likely to rank on the first page if you have a video on that page. But search is there to be dominated in a real estate space. It is a blue ocean right now. There's so many like super detailed keywords that locally, that the only people that have ever really gone after it is Zillow and Realtor.com. And they have, the content in the form of homes. But when you're looking for more specific things, like as you guys talk, like my brain just thinks in content pieces. So as you're telling stories, I just go down paths of, what would be a good content piece around that? What would be a good content piece around that? So I was doing a search here locally. So what's one of the first things that buyers look for when they're looking for a home outside of actual homes for sale?
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Geography, location,
Yeah.
I would guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when I've asked that question, the most common thing is like school districts, right? Like ratings for school districts. So I did a search for the town I live in, Prosper. And in Texas, we call them ISD, so the independent school districts. So like Prosper ISD, gets like 5,000 to 10,000 search results a month, and the difficulty to rank for it on Google's little free keyword planner or whatever is a low, which means it's easy to rank for it. That is a piece of content that 100% should be done. That if you had a good piece of content around the school district and ratings and blah, 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 and broke that into a video and put that on YouTube, you would get free subscribers. You would be able to start getting free traffic, going back to being able to retarget those people with pixels. Like if they clicked on that link and you had that YouTube video hosted on one of your pages, then you're going to have a bunch of people that potentially already live there, but a lot of people that are searching for the rankings are probably people that are considering moving there, which is just another opportunity. But how many of those options are out there where people search for things and there's an opportunity there? I was also reading, which blew me away. By the end of the year this year, it's anticipated that 73 billion phone calls will originate from search. So you know how if you search something for mobile, there's some businesses that pop up or whatever, and there's a call button next to it. There's 73 billion phone calls anticipated by the end of this year that are coming from search. So, in a world where you want to, the biggest desire that I hear is I would love to do more business. I don't necessarily want to just cold call to make that happen. I don't necessarily want to chase everybody down. Is how do I get people to approach me? How do I get people, when they're ready to buy or sell, approach me? And the answer is become the authority. And content is going to be the easiest, cheapest way. You could go big media and spend a ton of money in billboards and be everywhere that way and spend a ton of money. Or you can put out good quality content that can get you stuff for free. Because every real estate agent, if you really are somebody that adds value to your clients, you've got all kinds of good information upstairs that people would love to know if you shared it with them. And it's just a matter of getting it out in as many channels as possible. Going back to that attention.
I just wanted to further that point home really quick. If you look at what Google is saying with that low difficulty for ranking, they're saying, hey, we have customers searching for this and we don't have an answer for them. And so we don't create content. So, hey, world, if you could create some content that we could deliver to our customers so that they get a good result when they use our tool to search, it will be easy for us to be able to display that, higher up. Which again, for me, I just thought of Google as like this big, giant, nameless. I didn't think of them as being in business looking for, customers to deliver to them a result that you could get in the middle of by providing good content. But even more than that, the cool thing about the content piece, and that's on the lead gen side, the content piece is keeping in top of mind. And like you were saying, Jake, yeah, you could do big media, but this is guerrilla warfare. The coolest thing about it is your competitors won't even know what's happening. They'll just see the numbers. They won't, because they're not driving around. You drive around, you see billboards. You're not, as an agent, looking for content from your competitors in your marketplace and blogs. And I like that. I like the sneak attack.
Right. And it's first one. You said it earlier, Odo. It's first one there gets a lot of love from Google. So how long that's been there plays a part. So, when you go into looking at some keywords and it says the difficulty is high. So like, for example, a specific address might be difficult to rank for. But how many people are actually going to search that when it's not on the market? I've read a book where they were talking about going after Zappos, right? And being able to go after that section. It was like pretty much everything that they dominate online. They've been there for a long time, and they put out relevant content, and they have so many followers. They've written books, and they've done an amazing job putting out content, and they sell shoes. And they dominate some of those keywords. And so there's no point of even trying to go after that. You got to find the opportunities. But again, blue ocean on the real estate side, because there's not a lot of people that are putting that much strategic thought into putting out content and trying to rank, because it's always like, what are you doing for me now? If I spend, $10 a lead on 100 leads this month, and I close two of those, I get two listings or two buyers that end up closing, then I'm like, cool, I spent $1,000 and I made, 10 grand, 12 grand, 20 grand in some markets. That's great. But the big opportunity is what are you doing with those 98 subscribers that you got that weren't ready to go? That pretty much everybody else just throws away. We were talking about it a while back. One of our clients posted in our Facebook group and said, why are lessons so hard to learn? Why do they hurt so much? Because he had a lead that he generated, a subscriber that he had new to his list last year. And one of his buyers that he was working with were like, hey, can I go to, whatever the address was? And he was like, why does that sound familiar? And he had remembered it from almost a year ago. And he had paid to generate that lead and did not, called him twice and then never really did anything with it, wasn't putting out good, relevant content for that person to reach back out to him once they were actually ready to sell because it went on the market. If you did if you analyzed your entire database of how many people listed with other people a few months after you paid to generate that lead, you'd probably throw up in your mouth a little bit because the opportunity is giant. I mean, we took a look at that, Michael, I think in the brokerage here in Dallas, of like what the opportunity was of the nurture pipeline. Do you know how much that was in commission? Like, I feel like it was a couple $1,000,000.
Oh yeah, easily.
It's insane.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, our topic today is what? Publish or perish?
Yep.
Go to Google, put publish or perish and the word authority and see what comes up on page 1. I mean, it's irrefutable. The thing is, people either make an excuse or they make time. And I'm like, I've been saying this Jim Rohn quote a lot, and I don't even know why I've been saying it, but Jim Rohn is famous for a lot of great quotes. One of his quotes is about. Have you ever heard his quote about an apple a day?
No.
Negative.
Never. Really?
Is it about the candy bar? Is that what you've been talking about recently?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like every day. You can eat an apple every day, or you can eat a candy bar, right? And the point is that, but over time, they're gonna have an impact on you, and if you really think about that in its core, every day you could spend 30 minutes chasing the 3% of the market that's trying to do business this week. Or you could spend a little bit of time of creating a system that constantly is attracting business to you. And the point is that if you want to create this, I believe it's simply a little core process. One of the things, personally, I used to not like what's that? Typing it all. Like, I like to do audio, and the reason why is one of the top copywriters that's still living today, and was best friends with the legends that are no longer here, and I would put him up against any copywriter in the world. Says, his first stab at all copy comes it's auditory. He does it. He speaks it, and he says it's because the best copy that's read is conversational. And so it actually is in your best interest. Not only is it easier, more efficient, if you know the questions, all you're doing is answering the questions that your market has, and you're doing them based upon your subject matter expertise. And if you don't have the answer, you're going and doing the research, getting the answer so that you can educate your market. And it's through that audit, through the speaking of it, and then doing either speaking, then having someone for very inexpensive edit it. Which you can you can go on Fiverr and have someone edit for $5. you can put the speech, the digital, and you can email that, you can text that, you can post that, you can promote that, you can do a dark post with that. You can turn that into a video. You can put it you can put it on a blog and put it as part of a automation sequence. I mean, you can do so much with that piece of content that if it's actually valuable. When I'm doing live workshops with people, I tell people all the time. I said, I would be helping people understand the power of a free home warranty. And the reason why is because I personally have benefited from one, and I can tell you a story right now where I got a free air conditioner, and where my business partner Jay got a free Viking refrigerator in his home. I'm sorry, it was a Viking stove, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was very expensive, and so was my AC, all from a seller's coverage, and that's because we were smart enough to put it on our properties when we had them for sale. Are you doing that for your client? And if not, if you are, great. Are value not articulated is value not appreciated? Does everybody in your list know that? And if they do know that, which they don't, why don't they? Like there's a famous Mad Men. Mad Men is amazing for marketing and positioning. And there's it's who's the main character in Mad Men?
Don Draper.
Don Draper, yeah. And he's talking about um, this beer, and the bottom line is it ends up being, is it Schlitz beer? Was that what it was called? It ends up being, I think, some famous beer back then. It's an ad agency. It's an amazing show. If you haven't watched it, you should. It's just like, it's marketing at its core. And the point is that, and this is a famous story, not over here, but I've heard it actually more recently with other beer companies. But it came down to calling their, to marketing their beer based upon the process, and they had to explain the process. And they said, he was telling, "Hey, where do you do this? Where do you do this?" Like, we get it here, then we get it there, and then we toast it. And he's like, "There it is, it's toasted." And then someone says, "Well, everybody's is toasted." He was like, "Well, everybody's might be toasted, but nobody knows that." And that's the point, is that, are you doing free sellers coverage? Are you doing pre-inspections for yourself? What do you do for your clients? And even if everybody else does that, people inherently don't understand the process. So by articulating the things that you're doing in a way, makes you different just by telling people, because most people just tell people, "I'm number one list with me," right? They don't know that you have 18-step process you do within the first. Like, my process was, I only put homes on the market on Thursdays, and I could write that in. I could literally record to you on why. Supply and demand. Most people, you want to be, when people are looking through homes and they got 20 homes, guess what they probably did? The motivated people. Guess what the motivated people did? Guess what the motivated people did, guys? Guess what the motivated people did?
They looked at newest first, bro. They looked at newest first.
They looked at homes last week and the week before, and they can't find what they want, so they look for the newest one, right? And so
Yeah,
you
for
want to
sure.
be the one on Friday when they're sifting because they only have an hour and a half before church on Sunday or after church. You want to be the one at them. So you tell the seller, "Let me tell you the 16 things that we do, or the 181 things that we do. Here's how we do them."
That was the biggest paradigm shift for me.
Yeah,
honestly.
it's just all I'm saying is that if you can distill the lesson down in what you do and why you do it, and say, "Here, Michael Otto, tell me the point. Why do you list your homes on Thursday?" And then you tell me, "Well, here is the point, Michael Reese," and you say it in 4 minutes and it's an audio, that is valuable. And if you put that in an audio and you record it and you put a screenshot on top of it and you turn it into the video and you play it, you put it on part of a playlist, and you have 48 of them that are 3 minutes long, all about, the home selling process, people will click from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and be like, "Dang, man, I didn't know." I mean, you are the only one telling them without them having to meet with you. You are publishing content, and therefore you are becoming authority. You are competing. Listen, guys, if you're competing at the house, if you're competing on the phone, you lost, because the first interview, the first interaction is the consumer is interacting with agents at their computer. They're interacting with the first viewing of all your listings happens online, not at the doorstep. They already looked at the house, looked at the pictures. So like, if you don't have your house looking good, if you don't have it prepared, you're probably going to attract a lower offer or get sorted to the bottom of the stack. The same thing goes with content. If when people are out there searching, if you're not committed to publishing the stuff that you're doing, let's just publish the homes that you sold. Let's just publish that you sold the home. I mean, you can say, hey, listen, sold this home in 19 days, blah, 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 record it. That when anybody, and you can say the neighborhood in Sherrill Creek. When someone says looking for homes in Sherrill Creek, they're going to run into your video in the attic and saying, if you want to know what your home would sell for in Sherrill Creek, press here to get a home evaluation. The point is that here's the main point, is once you do that, it lives forever. Right. Somebody can look at it from China at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and the people that I know, here, go to your Instagram. The people, here, you want to know the common denominator with the people that got 20,000 followers on Instagram?
What's that?
They got 4,000 posts.
Yes.
They got 4,000 posts. That's
Love
what.
It. Love it. Well, and like you said, it's golden bricks. And too many people just treat today's lead generation as it pertains to real estate and conversion as throwaway. And I was guilty of that. I mean, I had processes in place to keep in touch, but I wasn't publishing content. I wasn't doing, and granted, some of these things weren't available back then. But I think the thing that you touch on that I wanted to just drive home is you always say, if you understand someone's problem more than they do, and they're able to recognize that, you're looked at as the authority. And for me, there's so many things that we know and do as agents that we just take for granted that the public knows. Well, of course they know that. Well, of course they know that I'm going to, put it on the MLS and, put it over here and syndicate it over there. And of course they know that. They don't know that stuff. They don't know. Even the ones that say, oh, I've sold multiple homes, they don't know the back end processes. And talking about that is articulating value.
The first time I heard a well done listing presentation, like when I 5 years ago, I didn't know the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor. I blew my mind that those two things were not the exact same thing. So I was part of the 90 whatever % of Americans that are like, why do real estate agents deserve X% commission, whatever? They don't do anything. They just put it online and then they don't do it. Like, once they know exactly what's done, and going back to, value unarticulated is value unappreciated, go out and educate these people. Like, they don't know what they don't know. And you're right. We take it for granted for what the public knows. But you want to change the perception of real estate agents in the public's mind, put out how valuable you are. Like, I know that's one of the most frustrating things for real estate agents is, some people, the totem pole is like used car salesmen and real estate agents, right? Like, not too far away, where physicians and surgeons and lawyers and all of these other professions have this like clout around them, where if a lawyer tells you something, if a lawyer put out content, and it would be like, oh my goodness, like, this is gold. But it's the same thing. If you can just add value to your community, you will change the perception of real estate agents, probably all around, but mainly you will become the authority. If they still think of it of the other people, they'll look at you and be like, man, this person knows exactly what they're doing. They're worth every dime plus way more. But you've got to be able to add value and just focus on that. But I don't know how many real estate agents wake up in the morning, and if they don't have a listing presentation or listing appointment, or if they don't have buyers to work with, they're like, what am I going to do today? Right. And they drag their feet and they figure out which thousands of webinars to try and jump on and figure out what they're going to do to solve their problems and where their next client's going to come from. And they just drag out. They know they need to probably make some phone calls to their database or new leads or whatever it may be. And they drag their feet on that because they really don't want to. Like, take that time and add value to your community. You can. They don't know. And if you focus on that, you will change the perception, at least of you. And you will be a trusted authority in your marketplace. You will become that person if you focus on it and do it and consistently do it. Not just do it every once in a while, but consistently put it out and put out good stuff. You will change the perception of you in your market. And it will be mind-numbing if you do it consistently for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years. It will be crazy the impact it's had in your life.
I think that's a core principle, Jake. The fact that when you have these subscribers in your database, which the industry calls leads, they are your community. They're yours, and it's your job to build a fence around them to keep out prowling competitors. And content is the most effective way to be able to do that. Keeping in touch with them on a regular basis and making sure that you're adding value to that community, your subscribers in your market.
I love that, man. Well, I think this was a great episode. I think if you listen, like we said, you either make it a priority or you make it an excuse, but we are only trying to get you to not grow your business. We're trying to get you to change the way you think. If you keep doing business the way you've been doing it, then your business is going to continue to grow at the pace, and it's going to come with the same problems and challenges. We know that there's a better way, and so we're just trying to help you build a business that works harder for you than you do for it. So, any closing statements, gentlemen, before we wrap this up?
I left it all out there.
Awesome.
Feeling good about it.
I love it, man. Well, great job, gentlemen. I can't wait to see you guys, and appreciate you as always. Like we say with the Rainmaker podcast, you can either be working in your business
or on your business. Let's get to work.